Hello, and welcome back early. Normally I post on Tuesdays, but now that we are in-house and getting settled, still working on the whole everything. Anyhow, I'm going to actually start posting twice a week. I have been planning on it for a little while. One is going to be, the one on the weekend is going to be talking about things. Some of our funny family stories, where we're coming from, where we're going, that kind of stuff. And then the ones on Tuesdays will be recipes. I figured I would start with me. And I did a tiny little snippet on my self-care video about why I eat the way that I eat. But I figured for those of you who are interested, I would give you a more in-depth look at my life and where I came from and where I am. So if that is not your thing and you're here for the recipes and the kids, then the Tuesday post will be your jam. If you want to get to know us a little bit better and a little bit deeper, join us on the weekends as well, so that you get more of an inside glance when we come right back.
With every star, we are born again. Open your heart.
Hi, welcome back. It's been 15 seconds. I'm sure you missed me. I missed you. Yeah, there's kind of a lot to me and where I came from. My genetics are fun. I've got a lot of mental health issues in my family. And so I was very predispositioned to that. At the age of 13, I actually went on birth control pills because my cycle was so messed up. It would last for 2 weeks, and then it would stop for a few days and then start up again for a few more days and then be done for a month and a half. So I would bleed extremely heavily. I would get migraines. I would throw up. It was ridiculous. So at the age of 13, I was put on birth control pills, which did help. My daughter, Verenia, was starting to have the same problems, and she's 15. And now, knowing what I know, I wanted to do what I could to prevent her from going down that same path. So we took her carnivore, and so far it has worked. It's made a huge difference. It's helped with her cycle. Anyways, I digress. So I was on birth control pills until I decided to get pregnant at 22, 21, 21, 20? I don't remember. Anyways, I wanted to get pregnant because I got married. So I stopped the pills and I got pregnant within just a few months after that. I had a pretty good pregnancy, health-wise. Mental-wise, it was a little rough. I was the epitome of the pregnant woman. The emotions, the up, down, the cravings, all of that. No health problems though. Perfectly healthy baby boy. After my second child, I developed severe postpartum depression. I wanted nothing to do with him. I wanted nothing to do with Gaden for the first couple of months, and I was not doing well at all. I went to the doctor and they put me on antidepressants, and they told me it would just be a temporary thing. And it was not a temporary thing, because I just continued to get worse in different ways. Some ways I got better, other ways that I didn't notice until much later, I got worse. When I would go back in, they would ask all these questions, how are you doing? Have you ever XYZ? And it seemed to be that every time I went in, I was more and more depressed in different ways, not in the same ways. I was happy to be a mom again. I loved my 2 little boys, but there was other things. And so then they would change and or up the dosages for my medications. I'd get better for a while, and then it would get a little bit worse. Had Verenia. I was on medication the whole time with her. And after she was born, then we jump ahead to Bella. I was still on those same medications when I was pregnant with Bella, just completely maxed out. I had nowhere else to go. Bella's pregnancy was very different. I had a lot of health problems with her. I ended up developing HELLP syndrome. I was hospitalized for 21 days because my blood pressure was so high. They said that in these cases, when you flip fast. So I was not going to be released until I delivered. I'm very grateful for that. The morning that she was born, they took her emergency C-section 9 weeks early. She was 2 pounds, 9 ounces, tiny little thing, and did absolutely wonderful. Breathing on her own, no complications for her part at all. I, however, had what is called a placental increta. Her placenta and my uterus had fused together. When they delivered her, they went to deliver the placenta. When they tugged, my uterus disintegrated and I completely bled out. I was given 10 units that day, and it took them 2.5 hours to stabilize me. There were several times that they didn't think I was going to make it. All I remember is them putting me out because my body was starting to shut down. And the next thing I know, I woke up in the ICU, all thanks to Vernia actually, but that's a story for another day. I ended up with a partial hysterectomy. My chances of ever having children again were over. Granted, I know, not that we really need any more, but that brought on a whole new level of depression. I had a very hard time nursing Bella, having a preemie. She was in the hospital for 36 days. That was very difficult. Being away from the rest of my family for that time was also extremely difficult because we were about 3 hours away. It was the only hospital that could handle us because she was so tiny. So that brought on a whole new level of depression. Of course, went to my doctor. They decided that they needed to change my meds because I was completely maxed out. There was nowhere else to go. So we changed my meds to 3 new ones. That did not go well at all. I was already gluten-free at this point in time. If I got gluten, I would have a severe breakdown for about an hour, and then I would be better. Well, as better as I could be. We were on our way to go see my psychiatrist for a checkup, and we stopped and we got Arby's, and I got just the meat. No bread, no nothing. Pretty sure that they put it on a bun and then pulled it off and put it in a bowl, and I got some cross-contamination. So by the time we got to the doctor's office, I was a mess, and I was bawling and crying uncontrollably. The doctor saw me and looked at my little baby who was only a few months old and decided to call a 5150 on me. We tried explaining I had just gotten gluten and I would be fine, but to her that was too much. So she called it in. By the time I was in the ER, in the room with the sheriff's deputy watching me, I was back to normal. It was much better, but it was already too late. So I had to spend 3 days in a facility being watched to make sure that I was not going to harm myself and I was not going to kill myself or hurt anyone else. I was actually asked by several of the people who were there for help if I worked there, and I was asked by 2 nurses why I was even there, because I, while medicated, was better, was still not fabulous. I barely ate while I was there because they had almost nothing that didn't have gluten in it. And I was terrified of having another episode of that where they would see me like that and then decide to keep me. So I barely ate anything for 3 days. That was fun. I finally got out and I decided I was absolutely done. I could not rely on doctors and medications and other people to tell me what was going to happen in my life anymore. It was terrifying. It completely altered my life. Now I am on some list that I will be on for the rest of my life because I got gluten. And doctors do not understand how much food affects us. So they completely discounted what I had to say about gluten. They thought I was crazy. Maybe at this point in time, they're starting to go, oh, the woman actually knew what she was talking about, because they see it so much more. Anyhow, after Bella, I gained all the weight. 252 was my highest on the scale. I am positive that I was heavier than that. I stopped weighing myself for several months because I didn't want to know how much I weighed. I'm guessing 275, somewhere up in there. So as if all of that wasn't enough, it took my husband's lab results for me to really kick it into gear to figure out what to do. And that is when we found the keto diet, and the rest is pretty much history. Well, the rest is kind of history. My son just came for a visit. You saw the episode. Hopefully you saw the episode. If you didn't, you should go back and see the episode. Snowmen and hot wings. He came for a visit with his fiance, Madison, and we went out to eat 3 times. When I go out to eat, I tell them no oil, no butter, no seasoning. That didn't happen, apparently, because after 3 times of eating out, I started to feel completely out of control again. Very dark, very angry. I took everything personal. It started to really scare me. The night after Caden and Madison left, I was just falling apart. I was a giant mess. Some of the things that I was saying or thinking were reminiscent of that time in my life just before I was hospitalized. And it absolutely terrified me. I looked at Richard and I said, no more. I will not go back to being that way. Now that I've lived it and I know the difference, it's not worth it. It's something that you have to experience to understand. When you've been trapped in that world of depression and anxiety and all that we're told by doctors with the best intentions, my psychiatrist told me that I needed to eat a plant-based diet. I tried. It just got worse. That's when I was hospitalized. It didn't work. Now I understand human physiology and biology and psychology, and I understand with almost 4,000 hours of education on this, what's actually going on. And not only am I finding what others are proving, but I'm proving it myself. I cannot handle any unclean foods in my term is unclean. It goes straight to my head. Literally. I gained a couple of pounds. That was inflammation. That's neither here nor there. That'll go away. It's fluid retention. It went straight to my head. And it started to turn me back into the person that I don't want to be. My husband was also much more snappy and short-tempered and demanding, and we both looked at each other that night and were like, no more. I cannot go back to being that person. And I will not go back to being that person because I can control what I put into my mouth. I can go out to eat with people, sure. I just won't eat. I will take my coffee. I will take water. I will take tea. And I will tell them that I am fasting. I'm just not eating right now. Depending on who it is, I may explain to them why I am not eating. Because nothing at a restaurant tastes better than feeling healthy and feeling free. That reminder, I wish I hadn't had to have it. I wish that I was healthy enough that I could get cross-contamination. I could get seed oils or MSG or who knows what else and be fine. Clearly, I cannot. I don't know if I ever will be able to. We're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm sure at some point in time I will try again to go out to eat and see how it is, but probably not 3 times in a row, because that could have been it. I've gone out to eat before and been fine, but not 3 times in a row. That is a little bit of my story, where I came from and what I've been through, and why I do have an idea of what I'm talking about, because I've lived a lot of it. I've seen the changes in the kids as well. Verinia is much calmer and happier when she is ketovore. Cassidy is not nearly as sassy and demanding and controlling and weepy when she is ketovore. Noah gets mean. He will get physical. He will get so angry that he will shake and cry. Just tears are just streaming down his face, and he's shaking and he's trying to breathe to calm himself down before he lashes out. It's not worth it, in my opinion, or in theirs. We've talked a lot about what food does to us. The kids, as much as they miss the junk food, tell me time and time and time again, I just want to eat healthy. I don't want to be like that anymore. That to me is huge, because when they get older, they'll have these tools in their belt that they can pull out and go, oh yeah, I am being a little different. I am out of control. I am crying too much. The changes, my husband is much calmer and happier, and he jokes around a whole lot more, and he's more relaxed when he's off of that stuff as well. Every single person in our family has seen changes. Josie has a lot more energy. She doesn't sleep for 18 hours a day and still need more sleep on top of that. We're getting 48 duck eggs delivered tomorrow. So she's decided she is going to be their mother, and she's taking that on. She will be doing the greenhouse. We're going to be getting, I don't even know how many chicken eggs. That we're looking at emus. How fun is that? We might have emus pretty soon. Emu. I don't know how to say it. One of those. I'll have to look it up. Anyways, that is where we are headed. Yeah, it's a much brighter future than I ever thought possible. Being told, this is how you are, this is as good as it's gonna get. You'll be on these medications forever. You'll never be able to function without medication. I can function quite well without medication, better than I did on medication. My little experiment the other day proved that I really need to stay true to what I've learned and what I've found works. It's worth it. I'm worth it. The children are worth it. My marriage is worth it. It's worth not getting a steak that could potentially have something on it. It's worth me looking at the steak and going, I know that this is not butter and season free. Please redo it. I have the hardest time doing that. I'm always like, oh, I feel really bad. It's a waste of a steak. I'm worth it. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to eat out, I will demand that it be done properly, because that was not worth it. If I could have a do-over, I would take it, but I can't. Instead, I learned something, and hopefully my experience can help you learn something as well, if you're still with me. Yeah. Anyways, I better stop talking. This has been recording for a very long time. Thank you for listening and for everything that you're doing to support us, and for sharing our story with other people to help try to encourage them. Please do all of the things. Hit the like button, subscribe, and the little bell icon so that next time I post a video, you will be notified and you can join us on our journey. Thank you all so much. We love you and appreciate you, and we will see you on the way. Bye. So, can you go ask Josie, say, Mommy's recording, can you make me lemonade, please? Or you can go ask Cassidy, she can make it too. I love you.
Me too.
Because seriously. Anyways. I'm back. How many times do you have to push the button before it actually works? I don't know. Too many times. How many cups of coffee am I going to go through today? I don't know. Probably too many.